me too. I don't know. Oh, the Kiwi bird is a bit odd. Here's the Kiwi
He's
bird.
the real star of the show.
Yeah, here you go. I just want people to be able to see the Kiwi bird. Here you go. Hey guys, welcome to another one of our live session in which we are helping you planning an epic trip to New Zealand. We kind of are the expert of traveling in New Zealand, but why? Why are we the experts? I was about to say it.
Yeah, well, this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide and has thousands and thousands of articles to help you guys plan your trip to New Zealand for absolutely free. So there you go. But if you're not really into reading, we also do these live Q&A sessions on YouTube at every single Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. And yeah, for times around the world, that is... Where's all the times?
Here, it's right up. Here you go.
God. So 4 times around the world. In France and the UK, that is 7 or 8 p.m. on a Saturday evening, although I think that might have changed.
Yeah, tell us what time it is where you guys are.
Yeah, sorry, we're
I need to write it down.
little bit disorganized over here. And in the US, that is at 2 p.m. EST or 11 a.m. PST on a Saturday. In India, that is 12:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. And in Australia, that is at 6 a.m. on a Sunday morning as well.
And in Ireland, it's at 9 p.m. on Saturday.
Okay,
Thank you, Fernando.
So if you have any questions to do with traveling in New Zealand, come onto the live chat now and ask away, and that's probably the best way to get your questions answered. But if you do miss our live session, we do take the questions you guys asked in the comments section of any of our videos and also go through those questions as well. So yeah, there you go.
All right, so it was a fun week for us this week in New Zealand. There is still a lockdown in the country, so we basically had to stay home, and everybody kind of in New Zealand is to stay put. But still, it was a beautiful week. It was gorgeous weather, so there's a lot of people kind of out in the gardens, and it's very social, and everybody seems to be dealing with things very well. We did not do an update on the current situation this week. We've done videos every single week so far, but there was really nothing new. It's just a lockdown. It's just happening. So if you guys want to know the current stage of where we're at with the current situation, you can check out our last video on the subject. It's big, red, and yellow on the channel. You can't really miss it. All right, in the meantime, we'll go to the live chat and see who's there. So Fernando Nicolas Slizliga. I probably destroyed your name. I'm sorry, Fernando. He says hello from Ireland and says 9 p.m. So it's awesome. If you guys want to tell us what time is it where you are, it's always good to know.
Yeah.
Extreme Talota says Morena, guys. How are you? So if you guys don't know, Morena means kind of good morning in Maori. And you guys don't have to tell us what time it is because we know it's 8 a.m. for you guys.
You don't even seem to know the time here. So
yeah. And we have not tried fry bread. Rwanda bread. We haven't tried Rwanda bread, but we are starting to look into it. So maybe when all the nonsense stops, we'll be able to get some. Then we have Mohammed Radwan that says, "Hey guys, great to see you. Great to see you too. Thank you very much for popping in." We have A.B. Norton. How would you pronounce A.B.? A.B.?
I have no idea.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So A.B. Norton, say hi from Ireland. Hi, A.B. How are you doing? I'm sorry for butchering your name. We have Martina Sten from Germany. Says 10 p.m. in Germany. Oh, it's a bit late. After this video, you go to bed, Martina.
That's past your bedtime, isn't it, Robin?
So late. And then Mohammed Radwan says the guys difference between petrol and diesel cars. So in New Zealand, there are actually some special things you need to know between petrol and diesel car. So if you have a petrol car in New Zealand, so let's say you're coming to travel around New Zealand and you decide to buy a car, or you rent a camper van, or you rent a car. If you get petrol, whatever price you see at the pump is what you pay. So you're just gonna open the stuff, fill up the tank, and then when you go to pay, this is exactly what you saw on the counter. Sometimes you can get some discounts when you get vouchers from the supermarket. So when you shop at the supermarket, sometimes it gives you 2 cents or 6 cents off per liter. So you can redeem those supermarket voucher to selected petrol stations. Now, for diesel cars, it's actually slightly bit different. There is an extra tax to pay. So whatever price you see at the pump is what you're going to be paying at the gas station, so you will, and it's a little bit cheaper than petrol. But then there is actually a tax to pay per mileage. So per kilometers you drive, there is a tax to pay, and you usually buy them in bundle, and you can buy them at the post shop.
Yeah. So do you want to talk about how they're bought the post shop? I think you have to do it. If you're doing it for a rental company, they will have a bill at the end of your rental.
But if you have your own car,
yeah. So I'll just go through. If you were to rent a diesel car in New Zealand or a diesel camper van, usually at the end of your rental, there is an extra bill at the end, which is to represent your road user charge, or basically that's the diesel tax in New Zealand. But some camper van companies in particular actually waive that fee and don't apply that. So it is good to look out for those sort of those companies as well if you're looking to save a little bit of money. And if you look on nzpocketguide.com, we do have camper van and car rental comparisons on there, and we do mention the companies that don't charge you that extra diesel tax at the end. So make sure to look out for that on nzpocketguide.com. But if you are buying your own vehicle, and you're buying a diesel vehicle, then you need to go, like Robin says, to one of the post offices or post shops in New Zealand. And there's a bit of a form to fill out, and you basically, there's a form, and
give them your money.
And give them your money. Yeah, I guess it you sort of buy in bulks of like, is it like every 10,000? Well,
yeah,
so
you buy. You can select
something.
How much kilometers you want to buy. So it's usually, I think the minimum you can buy is 10,000, so 1,000 kilometers. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So when it comes down to pricing between petrol and diesel, honestly, with the extra tax afterwards, it comes down to about the same. The reason why there is this difference, because for businesses, when they operate big trucks and stuff like that, they actually get the tax back as a business expense or something like that. So it makes it cheaper for businesses to run diesel. And that's why most of the time you will only find larger vehicles which are diesel in New Zealand. All in all, make your life a bit simpler and go for a petrol car rather than diesel. It's just going to be a bit easier. Anyway, that's just our take on it, obviously. But I hope that helps you, Mohammed. If you have any extra questions, well, we're here. Just go for it in live chat. We're here to help. So Alva says, no worry, it's pronounced Alva. Well, I had absolutely no chance to pronounce it correctly in the first try.
Name.
Little French Robin was just completely taking a left foot on this one. Fernando says, could you give advice on internet in New Zealand? I read in different blogs that it's terrible across the country. Okay, it's not terrible. So we work online, right? So you've seen us, if you are familiar with this channel, we travel a lot around the country, and you know, it's our job to create this travel guide to New Zealand. You know, we've been doing that for like 8 years now. And if you look at this channel in the earlier video, you can see us doing something called New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, in which our challenge was to travel 365 days around New Zealand, doing 365 activities. While doing that, we were still updating the website and still publishing videos every day and doing all those kind of things, right? So it is doable to actually be able to access the internet, everywhere you go. It is just a little bit more expensive and a little bit slower than what you used to. So, for example, us where we are right now, which is in rural New Zealand, if we want to upload a video on YouTube, which will be about 10 to 15 minutes, it will take about 5 to 6 hours. If you're in Auckland, in the city, it will take about 10 minutes probably, or something like that. It would be quite fast. As per the price of the internet, you got many different options. If you're flatting with people, well, it's usually going to be included in your rent. Let's be honest, as a traveler, you don't really need to bother with that. But then there's cafes and cyber cafe.
Yeah, so usually if you're going to normal cafes where they have free Wi-Fi, obviously you just have to purchase something from the cafe, like a coffee or something, and that's enough to get you your Wi-Fi. That's kind of like how it works around the world. For internet cafes, they're kind of not as popular in New Zealand anymore, and I wouldn't even know the prices for those.
Well, the one on Queen Street in Auckland, for example, there were $3 an hour.
Yeah.
So usually people that go to cyber cafe, cyber cafe. Whew.
Yeah.
Cyber cafe is usually for gaming. It's mostly for gamers. But hostel will have like a few computers as well.
Yeah. So a lot of accommodation around New Zealand will offer free Wi-Fi, but not but not all accommodation. And some of them have like sort of like your first maybe 250 MB free, and then you have to sort of buy a little top-up card which you can use. One of the popular little top-up cards is called Global Gossip, and I think the price for that, I mean, if you're using it for 10 days unlimited Wi-Fi straight, you get, I think it's about 20 New Zealand dollars, but then you can choose like shorter packages from there. But yeah, it's usually don't always expect there to be free Wi-Fi at every single accommodation that you go to, but also some of the free Wi-Fi at accommodations aren't always fast, and especially if there's like a lot of people staying there as well, then it's usually quite slow.
It always depends on how many people are connected at the same time, because usually free Wi-Fi is literally the same internet that you have at home, just they give the password to everyone. That's there's not a well set kind of system. And so in bigger cities where they can get fiber, well, usually it goes a little bit faster, but otherwise it's not amazing.
Yeah.
And Mohammed actually has a follow-up question on the internet. He says, explain nicely. Thank you. While you are talking about the internet, what is the difference between ADSL and fiber? So in layman's term, ADSL uses the same cable than you have the phone with, and the fiber, you have to lay a new optic fiber cable and to connect every housing and every businesses around the country to do that. So obviously, if you want to know more about that, you better watch a documentary about what that is. You're on YouTube right now. There's a ton of video about that, so go for it. But what happened in New Zealand is that the fiber is currently being installed and being rolled out around the country. Sorry about that. So in Auckland, you've got quite a lot of places which have fiber, and therefore the internet is quite fast. As when it comes down to like personal houses and everything, it's not necessarily there just yet. Around the rest of the country, Wellington does have a fair bit of fiber. Christchurch does have a fair bit of fiber, and Dunedin, out of all places, does have a bit of fiber. The rest of the country, there is a rollout, so we're still in ADSL. So there is something called VDSL as well, which is just ADSL a bit boosted, but it's about the same thing. So you still have to expect this kind of speed. If you come from a country where you have fiber almost everywhere and you're used to the speed of fiber, you will come back down to 5 years ago when you were just with the ADSL. And you will have to share that connection with other people. So you've got to keep that in mind. Honestly, for like doing your research for planning your trip, obviously it's kind of self-promoting a little bit, but let's say you go on nzpocketguide.com, which is our travel guide to New Zealand, and you browse the site, just to know where you want to do next and everything like that, you'll be absolutely fine. If you try to kind of download movies or upload videos on YouTube and all those kind of things, then it's going to be a little bit slow. If you're trying to do a bit of Skype, sometimes there is, the quality kind of drops off, but all those companies are becoming really good at kind of adjusting the settings depending on the internet speed and everything. So you'll be okay. I mean, for travelers needs traveling in New Zealand, yeah, it's a little bit slower than you're used to, especially if you try to, connect to the internet from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the hostel, which is crowded. Yeah, it's going to be a bit slow. Yeah. But you'll still be able to do what you want. And you always have the backup to use your phone in order to go on the internet. We have many videos right now with, like describing all the different plans that you can get and all different companies, and it works.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot of what we did when we have been traveling around New Zealand and needing to actually have reliable internet, because, sometimes you go to accommodations and you don't know if it's going to be reliable enough for what you want to do. So we just get ourselves a local SIM card, and there's actually some pretty affordable data plans and that sort of thing. And we just end up using sort of the tethering Wi-Fi on our mobile devices. And which, I mean, most phones have now. So yeah, and then we usually connect our laptops to those. And that's usually, we found that was the best way to make sure that you do have reliable Wi-Fi everywhere that you go in New Zealand, as long as there is a phone signal.
Exactly. All right. Well, so I hope that we went well in depth for the internet for you guys, Fernando and Mohammed. Eshan is back. How are you doing, Eshan? He says, good morning. Who loves tea between the both of you?
Definitely me.
Yeah, I don't like tea at all.
Yeah, Robin calls it sock juice, which is quite insulting. But yeah, no, I love tea.
Yeah, I like my hot cocoa. I think I stick with hot cocoa and or water. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you do like tea and are interested about that, there is a video on this channel actually about Dsl tea, which is a tea plantation and factory in New Zealand. Probably the only one actually.
It's the only one in New Zealand.
And
that's
so
their claim.
we did visit that. We did a whole tour of that and everything. So it's Dsl tea instead of tea long. It's Dsl. So you just put a Z there. And you can check that out if you're interested.
Yeah.
Stone Skin is here. Say just can say hi.
Faradi. Is that how we say it now?
Yeah, and he says he also like button. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
By the way, guys, if you find our video useful and all our answer useful, if you hit the like button, it's a great free way to reward us for all our hard work, and it basically tells other people the video was useful, and that helps promoting us a little bit. Roger Fox has a question. He says, hi guys, it's always nice to see your video. Thank you very much for popping in.
Yeah.
My question is, do you think that New Zealand will drop its fee on travelers coming in after the current event? Best wishes. Well, Roger, I don't think so.
No.
If anything, things are going to become more expensive because there are going to be less tourists. So less tourists means less revenues, and you still have about the same cost in running the countries, infrastructures. So I personally don't see it. I don't see it increasing too much, but don't see it reducing at all. I'm almost positive on that, but it's obviously just a personal opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, yeah, I mean, we haven't heard anything about them dropping those fees. Those fees were only introduced maybe about, even like less than a year than this whole event happened. So I feel like as soon as, they're not going to drop something that they're probably taking them years to sort of come up with and implement. I really don't see them dropping it and also, it's another way for the government to make money, and that's what they want to do. So I don't see a reason why they would drop it. They're not going to just, I don't know, be like, oh yeah, let's treat the travelers. Nah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Government's role is to mostly help. Help its own citizens, not necessarily the travelers. So,
yeah.
But again, it's just speculation, Roger. We obviously have no idea. We haven't heard anything. We have no insight. And when things happen, we post videos here and we answer those questions and everything. So we keep, we keep our ears out. And as soon as something happens, we'll let you know. Haitian says, well, once the lockdown is over, I bring some Ceylon tea to Laura. Ooh,
yay!
Nice. Laura's gonna love that.
Yeah, I won't say no.
Bus Stop. That is a cool name.
Yeah.
I love that. Bus Stop. To be fair, I do like Roger Fox too. I think that's a foxy name. Bus Stop say, hello from the Midwest. I'm camping out. Nice.
Wow. Are you spending your whole lockdown camping out?
Yeah.
That's pretty hardcore.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. I love it. I may as well make the most of it, right?
Yeah.
Fernando says, thanks. I'm a civil engineer in Ireland, and I would like to continue with similar job in New Zealand during my stay there. What's the best way to search and apply for job there? Fernando, we have a full video about that where we spend about like 20 minutes giving you all our tips on that. Plus, if you go on nzpocketguide.com, there is a section on top that you can find. It says work in New Zealand, and there we have a ton of ways to apply for jobs. We will update that as soon as we kind of understand a little bit the job market after the current event, just because the job market will have changed quite a lot. The unemployment rate is going to go up. A lot of people are going to be laid off. We all know there is an economic crisis looming around. So a lot of things is going to be changing, and obviously we will adapt our content accordingly. Right now, there is all our tips and advice on the situation that was literally about a month ago. And we'll see how that changes. But to apply for a job, you have to be in short, right? You have to be in the country. You have to both apply online and do a lot of face-to-face, because face-to-face is usually works the best in the country. And you need to be ready to be employed. So you need your tax number ready. You need your bank accounts ready. You need your work visa ready, and you need to be in the country. So it's all, you have to be ready to literally get started. Because usually when you get the job in New Zealand, it's like, can you start tomorrow? Can you start now? It's quite interesting. Sometimes you go to a job interview and it's kind of like, well, can you start now? Literally, you hit the shop floor if you're a shop person or something. Go for it. Mohammed says, I got an idea. If you like, guys, why the lockdown, do review twice a week, perhaps on previous videos you made. Get a nice memory back. Get to chat about it. It's just an idea. Well, Mohammed, we actually are doing that. I don't know if you noticed, but we are doing that. We are republishing some videos from New Zealand's biggest gap year, and we kind of updating with new information, answering some questions. And yeah, we are doing exactly that.
Yeah. So we're not really reminiscing on the videos, like we're not speaking and saying how we're reminiscing. We are sort of answering questions about those videos that you guys did put in the comments of our original the original videos, because a lot of you guys were asking questions about like the activities we were doing, or things related to that. So yeah, we are kind of doing that idea already. So yeah.
And we don't reminisce too much, because we really try to make this channel not really about us as people. We don't want this channel to be Robin and Laura. We want this channel to be about New Zealand and about answering your questions, right? So even when you watch our videos of us doing activities, it's not a lot about us too much, but it's mostly about what the activity is and giving you a lot of facts. We're very much of a factual channel. I mean, if you feel like, following travel bloggers, there are a ton of travel bloggers which are doing way better job than us at being a travel blogger. Our job and our real job is, travel writers, and we write all those travel guides. We have NZPocketGuide.com, which actually is the largest travel guide of New Zealand, and it's available free to everyone. But we also have one for Fiji, we have one for Tonga, we have one for the small country of Niue, and we keep on writing travel guides like that. So that's our real job, right? So we're very much kind of factual people, rather than kind of like, oh, look at me doing this and me doing that. So we don't really reminisce too much. We kind of look back at the video and we're like, okay, here's a few updates, and here's what is new now in 2020 about that activity. But we do publish 2 of those every single week, actually, on the channel. I think right now we are on day 8 or 9, and there is 365 more to go. So here you go. So there are, if you look on the channel, there are the videos which are like, they're blue and pink on the text writing, like on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
And I made a playlist for that as well, so you can just play the whole playlist if you want to. But during the lockdown, actually, there's a lot of people that loves watching New Zealand's biggest gap year from the day one, and watch them all. There is really a lot to watch. It's fun to watch, and there's a lot of activities in New Zealand. But thank you very much for the idea. We actually had a discussion about that with Laura, and so that's why we came out with that. Mr. Faris talks to Fernando and say, LinkedIn, train me, seek, also make a good CV and cover letter, and then hunt for the job. Yeah, here you go. Hasi says, hello from Sri Lanka. Hey,
hello.
How are you doing? Hasi from Sri Lanka, I love that. Gavin Fitzgerald says, currently living through the lockdown in Mahurangi. We arrived days before the lockdown started. Visa was up in Australia. We already booked to start a new working holiday visa in New Zealand. Love the channel. Hey, Gavin, thank you very much for the lovely word. It sucks you arrived just like at the wrong time. Man. But at least you get the time to embrace the New Zealand culture. Or if you felt like you come to New Zealand just because you were stuck in Australia, like, oh, my visa expires, I need to come to New Zealand right now, and you didn't prepare, now you get plenty of time to take a deep breath and prepare your trip. So let's try to find any kind of silver lining right here. Plus, you also get to cook some awesome food. You can just try New Zealand food. You actually have an article on NZ Pocket Guide with some famous New Zealand foods. Maybe you can try cooking those things. Yeah, we should do a video about like things to do on the lockdown. That'd be cool to still experience New Zealand on the lockdown. Yeah, we'll do something like that, guys. And also, like, it's a good time to, once this whole like situation's over and people are allowed to sort of leave their houses again and do whatever they want, then this is going to be a really good time to travel around New Zealand, because it's going to be so quiet. There's not going to be that many other visitors in New Zealand. So it's going to feel like you're going to have the whole country to yourself if you're going on hikes and doing some of the activities. You'll probably be the only one on the tours and stuff. So it'll be quite an interesting way to experience New Zealand. So that's another plus to that as well. Yeah, it is. Like, Gavin, if you look at the videos from New Zealand's biggest gap year, I feel like I'm just talking about this thing over and over again. I'm sorry, but if you look at some of those videos, right, the way we plan our trip around New Zealand is that we were following kind of, obviously it's a bit hard to do it throughout the whole year, but we're kind of following the low season in every region, right? So when you look at us doing all the tours, you mostly see us, almost just the two of us, or with a couple of extra people all the time on the tours.
Yeah.
Which means that, like you get such a much better experience. So every time you see us, just us with a guide, or just us with like one other person and the guide, that's how you're going to enjoy traveling in New Zealand when the whole lockdown is finished. So that's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. I mean, we did find that absolutely epic. Like we did do a lot of tours before we did New Zealand's biggest gap year, in which we done a lot of tours as well. I mean, I think we clocked in about 300.
Maybe nearly 400.
Close to 400 activities in a year, right? But
Yeah.
we've done a lot of those activities before. And most of the time we were with way more people. That's why we planned it that way. So you're probably going to like that.
Yeah.
Alva. Sorry. Alva Norton says, generally, where in New Zealand do you think has the best weather in terms of sun, dryness, and heat? Thanks, Emil. Alva, you're going to the Bay of Islands and Nelson. Which one you want to tell a bit more about?
Both of those? Or?
Okay, go for it.
Yep.
All right, go for it. Tell people about the Bay of Islands and Nelson.
Yeah, so above Auckland is the region of Northland, which is known for having a subtropical climate. So that means that it's got the warmest temperatures in New Zealand, and it tends to rain maybe a little bit more in summer than it does in winter. But yeah, it's usually where you get the sort of at least the hottest weather in New Zealand. But in terms of a good combination of having warm weather and dryness around the Nelson area, also Picton and Blenheim. So that's the top of the South Island. That has a good sort of climate for being super sunny. And Nelson actually is the city in New Zealand with the most sunshine hours.
Per year.
So, that is definitely a good place to go if you are into the good weather. They have lots of vineyards around, and that's because the climate there is so dry and warm.
So you get booze and sun. I mean, did we sell you Nelson enough right here?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Alva, you're Irish. You do like your booze.
Yeah.
And so booze and sun.
Yeah.
Go to Nelson.
So in conclusion, either the top of the North Island or the top of the South Island are the best places to go.
I will pick Nelson.
Yeah.
All right. Gavin Fitzgerald says, exactly. Staying positive. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Our partner is a nurse, so we think we will be moving to Auckland soon for her work there. Gonna have to book a place to rent by picture alone. Anything to watch out for? Really? Do you have to go to Auckland? I think you can get a nursing job in many other places in New Zealand, and Auckland is just yet another big city. Consider other places. But
yeah,
if you have to,
I think a lot of if you've been looking for jobs online, most of the jobs online are in Auckland and in Christchurch. But actually, if you go to many towns in New Zealand, there's a huge shortage on nurses and healthcare professions, and they don't advertise their jobs online. But if you go to even a medical center, we're thinking even in like the town we're in right now, they're always really short on staff. So if you just walk into any medical center in any town in New Zealand, chances are they have an opening that they really want to fill right now. So just to make that clear, even though they're not advertised online, there's definitely a lot of towns around New Zealand that will have a job for a nurse.
Yeah. And before I answer your question, Gavin, and I we don't want to change your mind. I'm just going to help Laura's point a little bit even more. Yes, there are more jobs available in Auckland, but there are also much more people applying for jobs in Auckland. So the ratio is way worse, and you actually have better luck finding a job in smaller cities. Next thing as well is that you're not going to save money working and living in Auckland. Life in Auckland is extremely expensive, especially rent. So you're going to realize quickly that between commuting, rent, and all the cost of living, you're not going to save that much. So consider that as well. Now, looking for houses to rent with just pictures, the only tip that we can tell you is don't do it. You definitely have to visit the place. So I will actually hold off, and when all the situation right now is finished, then you can go and visit places. In New Zealand, houses are notoriously kind of cold and wet, and so you can have mold and black mold and all those kind of things because they're all wooden houses with no insulation. You also a lot of companies or rental companies or rental owners are going to try to make you pay moving in fees and all those kind of things, which some of them has recently been outlawed. So you've got to be aware of all those things. And there is a lot of dodgy things happening in the rental space, and you can mislead people so much on pictures, especially in a property realm. Like, you see that all the time when you look at houses and everything. They can make a room with a wide lens make look super big, and then you arrive in a place and like it's a cabinet. It's a tiny place. So really, for personal opinion, right? We lived in a lot of different places. We rented a lot of different places in many different cities. I always was surprised compared to the listing with that. So I will definitely go to make sure that you are able to actually see the place and get a feel for the place. And so And make sure that usually the more you have, I mean, in a general rule, the more fees you have to pay up front. I'm not saying like, paying in advance, like for some rent and everything, that's normal, and paying a week or two of bond is okay. But if you're like moving in fee and this and this and that, usually the dodgier it is, because they clearly make money out of the fees. So they kind of get people in and out all the time. So just be aware of that.
Yeah. I'd say until you can actually go out and look at properties yourself, probably the best thing, maybe it's what you're doing already, is to just stay in a hostel or something and pay their weekly rates, which are kind of similar to rental rates anyway. But at least that means that you can leave whenever you want. And, when you found a better place, you're not locked in by a contract or anything. So I would definitely go with that before you can actually go out and start looking at properties.
Okay. All right, so I hope that helps. We don't want to obviously, be too negative on that. It's just that we answer those questions quite often, so we get blunter and blunter as it goes, because it's kind of like, okay, it's just like this is what we think, more than So I would take obviously everything we say with a grain of salt and do what is best for you, Gavin. Obviously, you're gonna love New Zealand no matter where you are, but don't just take the first thing, because some people may just be too busy to answer right now because they're in a smaller town and they really, really, really do need the staff. So, maybe just go around a little bit and see. I mean, obviously go around when you can.
Yeah.
All right. Mohammed says, I really enjoyed the chat. May you tell us about the type of heating the houses, their central heating electricity cost, for instance? It really depends. I mean, between $150 to $200 a month is going to be a normal bill for power, for power in winter. The houses in New Zealand are notoriously cold. Not much insulation, and usually you have like in heaters, and that's usually what you have. Newer houses start having heat pumps, it's basically. So in some older houses they have the fireplace.
So the only way. So in New Zealand houses, it's very, very, very rare to have like a central heating. I guess with the one that uses, like you see in Europe, for instance, this is the only thing I can really compare it to. But they don't have central heating systems in houses. All their heating is either a fireplace or some sort of like electric heated device, like a heat pump, for instance, or just electric heaters plugged into the wall.
Or your electric blanket at
night.
An
electric blanket at night. Most houses do have fireplaces in New Zealand, and that's basically how they heat up the house. So, in terms of cost, it's obviously electric heaters do use a lot of electricity, so that does make your electricity bill sort of, go up quite significantly if you're using it all the time. I mean, in terms of cost,
I said 150 to 200 a month. That's what we've seen so far, depending on which places you're in. Like if you're in a super well insulated tiny apartment in Auckland, that may just be down to only like 110 or something.
Yeah, but and if you're generally actually apartments and stuff in Auckland don't necessarily need heating, because they're usually quite small and they are warm, basically because of the climate in Auckland is actually a lot warmer than the rest of New Zealand. So so also if you're concerned about heating and wanting to stay somewhere where it's warmer but also cheaper, then staying somewhere that has a warmer climate is probably a smart way to go as well. Because if you think about if you're going sort of in the middle or the south of the South Island, it can get really, really uncomfortably cold if you're like staying in your house. So if you aim for like the top of the South Island or the top of the North Island where the temperature is warmer, then that means that you probably don't feel like you need to put on an electric heater as much. So
All right, I'm going to keep going with the comments. I'm sorry, guys, we're going a little bit slow right now, but we will read every single one of the comments. By the way, if you find any of our response or answers useful, just make sure to hit the like button. It's a great way to say thank you. And then we say thank you to you guys. All right, so Mehdi says Nelson has the best weather. Yeah, we agree. That was one of the two we say. MB1968NZ says, good luck finding accommodation in Auckland. Yeah, we just covered that for you, Gavin. JT23 Vids, well, that is an interesting name, says, hey guys, I hope you are staying safe. Yes, we are. Thank you. Are you staying safe? I have a question regarding the current situation. I just completed my chest x-ray and it was sent online. Do you know if I have to do anything else? How many pounds would you suggest to have my savings before I go to New Zealand? All right, JT. So for your chest X-ray, I'm thinking that you are asking about your immigration process. Right now, almost everything has been put to a halt. You can check out our video with the update that we did last week. It's the thumbnail is red and yellow, and we actually talk about what Immigration New Zealand has decided to do. But basically, they work with a tiny crew, and they're only processing application from health professional right now. So any other application, anything else right now, everything has been put on hold. So for your chest x-ray, you'll have to see if you have to do it again and resend it because they want something up to date or anything like that. Things are all up in the air right now, so we can't really say anything about that. Now, how many pounds would you suggest you have in my savings before I go to New Zealand? So for working holiday visa in New Zealand, which is probably the most popular visa that people are talking about on this channel with us, it's a visa that allows people, which are usually under 30 years old, to come in New Zealand and work and travel for about 1 year. The minimum recommended amount of money by New Zealand immigration is 4,200 New Zealand dollars. Our suggestion is to have 5,500 New Zealand dollars as a savings. That means that you already pay for your flight, you already pay for your insurance for your whole trip, and you have just that amount of spare cash for your trip. That's usually the amount of money that we suggest personally, just to have peace of mind. That doesn't mean you're going to spend everything, but you have peace of mind and you travel safe.
Yeah, it's basically a good safety net to have for the beginning of your trip, and it also gives you enough sort of money to be able to travel around the country a little bit, see where you want to work. Also, you do need to have a little bit of money to sort of set you up to get somewhere to live and just sort of travel around the country as well. You might also want to do a couple of activities, which is definitely recommended. I mean, most of us only come to New Zealand once, so you definitely want to take the opportunity to do the stuff you want to do here. So yeah, that should give you a couple of months of getting to know the country a little bit before you find out where you want to actually work and stay put for a while. Assuming you are working, which I guess you are, since you need to get a chest x-ray, that's usually for visas that are over a year. Yeah.
All right, Gavin says, she's applied. So he's talking about her girlfriend. She's looking for a job in healthcare. She's applied for a job all over the Northern End. The Auckland hospital have come back quicker. But yeah, the rent is tough. The Auckland hospital are always expected to be the one that reply quicker just because they have more staff. So they have someone that is still able to do admin. In all the places around the North End, and they just don't have anyone that can do admin right now. Everybody is just, in the trenches. So usually, if you also want this feel-good feeling as well, you may want to help the one that don't reply to. I know it sounds crazy, but you may want to help the one that don't reply to you because literally they don't have the time to reply to you. That's how much help they need. But again, obviously, you've got to do what you got to do. You do you, mate. Jordan Reyes says, I hope you guys are staying safe out there. Yes, we are. Yes. How about you, Jordan? Are you feeling okay? Is everything all right for you, Jordan? Actually, we want to know if everybody is all right as well, Gavin and everything. Actually, guys, you know what? It starts being a bit like cabin fever-ish right here. We've been in lockdown for a couple of weeks. Can you give us some ideas in the comments right now? What have you guys been keeping busy with? What have you been doing? We've been playing board games and we've been playing video games as well. And as Mohammed was saying, we've been doing a bit more videos about New Zealand's biggest gap here because we started rewatching it. For us, it's kind of a trip down memory lane, but for you guys, it's just a good way to update you guys. So what have you guys been doing for that? So if you guys want to give us a few lists and everything, we can read it out loud and so everybody can learn from you. Have you done any fun project? Did any of you guys take up painting or reading? Or no, you'd be crazy to start reading. But,
I started reading the other day.
I know. But yeah, what have you guys been doing? Anyway, keep going with the live chat. MB1968. Renting is hard in New Zealand at the moment. Yes, it is. There is a shortage. There is more people than there is houses, so there is a shortage. So the prices are going up. Mehdi says, what about food delivery during the lockdown? I mean, pizza, burgers, etc. are not essential food. Well, if they're not essential food, they're not running. So food delivery, I think you only have like those kind of, the only thing you have is like those cook yourself meal delivery services, like those food box stuff, where you receive that and you have the ingredient and you have to make it yourself, which I personally don't get as a concept, just because I can go to the supermarket and buy my ingredients and it costs me half the price. And then I can make the food I like. I don't have to make the recipe they tell me to make.
Yeah.
But I think that's the only type of food delivery which is available. So you can't, at the moment, you can't order pizzas. You can't go through the drive-through of Burger King.
There's no takeaway restaurants or anything going on like that right now. The only food, the only food sort of things that are running are the supermarkets or online stores which sell food, and they're only allowed to sell like food, but it's not cooked food. It's ingredients to make your own meals, and that's basically how that's going. MB says Auckland has a lot of minuses. Whanganui is the best property-wise. We're not property experts, so you take that for what it is, Gavin, because I think that was an answer to you, Gavin. Fernando says, following your comments on Auckland, where would you suggest to live in order to get a reasonable living cost and good job opportunities? We actually have a lot of video on the channel about that. But if I have to pick one right now, I think MB is right. Whanganui is a good place. It's pretty cheap to live in. There's a lot of job opportunities, and it's just close to so many stunning places like the Whanganui National Park. You get the coast as well. It's a short to go to Taranaki and epic surfing and Mount Taranaki and the Goblin Forest and all those kind of things. Oh, so good. Yeah.
And you can also drive to the Tongariro National Park and experience the epic volcanoes. I think it's a really good place to live in.
Yeah.
Another good place would be Christchurch, just because the ratio cost of living and the amount of jobs available and wages is really good. So Christchurch would be a good one as well. But check more of our videos, and we talk about so many different places, so you'll be able to kind of get a bit more of an idea. Gavin says, go check. Great advice on the renting. Thanks, folks. Again, is great. We watched so much before coming here. Oh, you're very welcome, Gavin. Keep on watching. There is much more where that comes from. We're happy to help. MB says that most New Zealand cities have a hospital services. Yes, there is hospital or clinics. Despite them being pretty small, there is still quite a lot of services here.
Yep.
Extreme Talota says, I'm a regular to this channel. This is pretty interesting to watch, even though I lived in New Zealand all my life. I only been to the south once. What? Head back down to the south and then not right now, but as soon as you can. Come on, you've got to explore. It's amazing. The south and it's fantastic. Seriously, there's so much to explore.
Yeah.
Did Extreme Talota, actually, quick question. Did you watch some of the New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year video where we actually do the activities, or you just mostly watch the chat? All right, Jordan says, is the shot of a jet boat in Queenstown as epic as it looks? We have a video about that, so you can check out.
Not of the shot over.
No, it's not shot over.
No.
Which one did we do?
We did the
Skipper's Jet.
Jet.
So the shot over is good. Is good. I will say it's not my favorite in the country. Just to be 100% honest, one of the big selling points that they have slightly different kind of jet boat, the way it's built, and so it spins more. It's just a purposely built kind of jet boat. So that's one of the selling points. But it's not necessarily like the best one. If I have to pick my one favorite jet boat right now, I think I'll pick Rapids Jet, which is near Taupo, just because you actually go on Whitewater Rapid and you bounce and everything, and it's really a crazy jet boat. So I think I will pick this one, just on the personal kind of level. I think the shot of a jet boat is marketed, but I don't know if it's as epic as it is.
I mean, if you're saying it's as epic as it looks, like on the videos, you see that they go that close to the sort of canyon walls that they're going through and they're doing those spins. That is all actually true. That is exactly what the activity is like. I actually feel like the videos are kind of true to what the experience is like. But I mean, if you're comparing it to other jet boats around the country, they're all, I actually find them all pretty similar. Like they all do the same sort of, they all can maneuver the same. It's just the type of, I guess the difference is the type of scenery you're going through, or some jet boats sort of combine the experience with sort of going on an excursion somewhere and maybe having some lunch somewhere. And so, yeah, there's different types of experience. But yeah, I think the shot over jet is as epic as it looks.
Cool.
In short. Yeah.
There you go. All right, cool. So Jordan also say, I'm staying in, remember I'm in California, the governor. Dun, dun, dun. Oh yeah, in California. Maybe you can hop onto one of those TV shows which is shot in California right now, Jordan. You put yourself in the next Big Brother or something. They probably will start shooting those kind of things soon. CBS needs some stuff in their schedule. I'm getting off track right here, but the schedule. All right, so MB says Foodbox are lazy in his opinion. JT says, how much is rent per month for a room? It really depends on where you are. That would range between 300 to 100 and between 120 to 300 per week, depending on where you are at.
But for a room, I mean, he's just talking about a room.
Yeah.
Well, I've seen rooms for like between, if you're in a house share with about 20 other people.
Oh yeah, well,
120 New Zealand dollars to about until about 300 New Zealand dollars. I've seen
120 to 300.
I thought you said 200 too. Okay, sorry.
So it's 120 to 300 per month.
Yeah.
And what kind of job are the easiest to get? Easiest as in most easiest. Well, okay. So what jobs are easy to get? Any type of food picking right now, they are in dire need because there is less traveler in the country, so they really need a lot of help with that. So anything to do with food picking right now, extremely in high demand, good pay as well, and super easy to get really quickly. So here you go. Sweet Dutch girl YouTube says, where do you want to go that you have ever been? I really want to go to a small country called Tuvalu. It's a tiny island country in the South Pacific, which is one of the lowest, as per height, country in the world. And it's actually, due to the global warming and the rising sea level, is about to disappear. So I really want to go experience this country before it disappears and experience their culture and see basically the front line of the fight for, against global warming. So I really want to go to this tiny country. It is not too far from New Zealand, so I still have hope. It's quite hard to get there in normal circumstances. So right now, I can only just watch documentaries at the moment, especially. What about you? Where do you want to go that you've never been?
Well, the world's a pretty big place. That is a pretty hard question to answer.
Okay, you're not going to get an answer from Laura, it looks
I want to go to Hapai in Tonga. Because I was writing about it today and I felt like I actually haven't been there. So
Hapai is pretty cool. MB says Timor is fantastic. Sorry, I'm trying to find where I am on the live chat. Okay, Timor is fantastic city. All right, Glenn says Alva. The west is wetter and windy. The mountains in the middle catch the rain, so east is drier and it gets colder as you go south. Well, here you go. A nice geography lesson from Glenn, Alva. Maybe that's going to help you find the best place for you with the best weather. Thank you, Glenn, for that. We also have, actually, if you're interested in knowing all about the weather in New Zealand, we actually do have a playlist on our channel with everything about the weather. And we go month by month, one video for each month, and we go through the whole country and we tell you what are the average temperature, the average rainfall. We even tell you what to pack for each month and everything. So this playlist is pretty popular. Jordan says, and I am also very careful when I walk down the stairs after watching that video of Robin you guys referred to. Yikes. Okay, you know what, guys? There is a video on YouTube where I actually break my arm in the stairs. And it's no joke, I actually break my arm. So if you type
Manaya,
yeah. Here you are. I put it on the live chat for you guys. If you copy and paste that on YouTube and you put NZ Pocket Guide behind or something like that, you can watch this video. It's a fantastic hike. It's a great place to visit, and something fun happened. It's always fun to see people hurting themselves, but we take it with fun. We were talking about that last time with Jordan, so I told him to watch this video, and
out of all the crazy things you can do in New Zealand, Robin broke his arm just walking down some stairs. So It's when you least expect it that life comes and gets you.
I will actually just say something. If you guys actually decide to look for that video, Laura actually used a few expletives during the video. So yeah, just if you are sensitive to that, you may want to
cover your ears. Yeah. Cover your delicate ears.
Yeah, the YouTube robots do not like this video because Laura uses too many expletives. JT says, can you rent a room for 3 months or so, or do they have a minimum period of 6, 12 months, or how do the landlord work? Yeah, you can definitely do 3 months. It really depends on which landlord, obviously. So different properties will be listed differently, and some of them will say short-term rent, or some of them say long-term rent and everything. But yes, there is definitely availability for 3 months only. Absolutely. Alva says, thanks, guys. I have Nelson on my list of places. I'm kind of a newbie to the channel and find your content so helpful. What have you both worked at during your time in New Zealand and before you lived here? So when we arrived in New Zealand, we all have different kind of backpacker jobs and everything. But, just take that with a caveat that I think I've been in New Zealand for 10 years now. So we're not just, we've been established in New Zealand now. So we've done a lot of work. We worked in food and beverage, like kind of cafes and everything like that. Laura worked in kitchens. I worked in retail, fruit picking, delivery, just those kind of, all the kind of backpacker job, which we've done a lot of those kind of jobs. Laura worked on the ski field at some point as well. Yeah. So, we've done all the type of backpacker jobs, but now actually this is our full-time job. Actually, not this channel. This is just to be helpful and to communicate with you guys. But the website called NZPocketGuide.com, which is linked in the description and everything, is actually the largest travel guide to New Zealand. And that's why we write every day. So we literally work on that all the time. And that's our full-time job. It doesn't make any money at the moment, as you can tell, since, there is no tourist. But, one day it will. But yeah, we've done quite a lot of jobs. Extreme Talota say, I'm still watching some of you guys' video. Nice one. Sweet Dutch Girl YouTube says, what's your next goal? My next goal is to head to Tuvalu. No joke. I'm actually heading. So we are in a process right now in trying to help a lot of different South Pacific islands getting a little more exposure. So something you may not know about us is that we do a travel guide also for a lot of other places than just New Zealand. We do a lot of the small South Pacific islands, which are hit a lot with global warming as well as ocean pollution and everything. So we had a big goal that we really wanted to make a big impact in one of the small islands, and there is an island called Niue. So how do you spell Niue?
Niue.
So if you guys want to look at NuePocketGuide.com, you can find our guide on that. And one of the things that we did is that we actually decided to purchase metal straws for the whole island. So we, instead of them using plastic straws, because when we were there, a lot of them were using plastic straws, we decided to buy that for every bar, every resort, and every restaurant in the country. And we did this donation. And that was really kind of a goal of us last year. So we just done that like in February, I think, this year. So that was really kind of like the last kind of one of our big goals that we've done. And we were really happy to do that. And we feel like, being able to make such a difference in the whole country was just so good. So we've done that recently. We don't really kind of brag those things too much or anything like that. We know we don't do like PR, so it's not in the news or anything like that, but it's a cool story. We did share it on Facebook. If you guys are interested in you can find us on Facebook. It's nzpocketguide.com, and you can see picture of us literally packing those straws and sending them. It was quite fun. So that was kind of like the last goal that we achieved. Our next goal is really to go to an even smaller country like Tuvalu and being able to, put those guys a bit more on the map and show like, hey, those kind of problems, plastic in the ocean and global warming, actually has real life impact. And so maybe just kind of put more of a human face on broader concepts, I think. Yeah. So we still try to figure out how we could be doing that. And obviously starting by doing a travel guide for those destinations will be good. But so that's kind of one of our next goal. So here you go. Thanks for the question, sweet Dutch girl. I like it. Paul Fort Paramio says, hi, we are going to New Zealand in October. If all this crisis allows us, we are going to the Franz Josef Glacier, wondering which hour will be best considering the ice melt and the sun, etc. The ice doesn't melt that much. We are always proponent of doing it as early as you can in a day, just because everybody is fresher. Yeah. It's always fun to be the first one on there. And also the thing with Franz Josef is that the weather is always changeable. It changes a ton. So you may have like, oh, but the weather is bad, we need to push it back. Oh, we need to push it back. We need to push it back. So if you booked in the earlier tour, then it's easier to push it back throughout the day, because literally you will find that there is 4 seasons in one day in New Zealand for real, especially down the west coast of the South Island, which is where Fox Glacier is. So I will suggest doing it as early as you can in the day, so like that you have a bit of leeway afterwards.
Yeah. I think you don't really, with the weather being so different and crazy on the west coast of New Zealand, you don't really get the luxury of picking the perfect time to go. Usually you just have to pick your time slot, which, like Robin suggests, make it as early as you can so that they can fit you in, as close to that time slot as possible. But yeah, that's pretty much what you said.
Cool. MB says flatting situations. I am not 100% sure what this is referring to. JT says, what is your best memory from New Zealand? You can pick 3. Swimming with seals in Kaikoura. I still talk to it about being my favorite activity in New Zealand. Skydiving above French Joseph Glacier. We just talked about it, but the scenery is absolutely fantastic. And my last one will be when Laura actually did a bungee jump after I passed out and couldn't do a bungee jump.
Yeah.
So that would be my top 3, and there is video of each of them in the channel. Your top 3.
Yeah,
Laura?
mine would be probably seeing whales in Kaikoura, because we like our wildlife.
Yep.
Seeing loads of amazing birds in Ulva Island, which is near Stewart Island, and this is like stepping back in time. It's amazing. And I think doing the Milford Sound tour in the crazy rain. Like, I've never seen so much rain in my life, and the amount of waterfalls coming down all the mountains around you. That was just a hilarious experience, and made it so much better than even if you were to go there on a perfect day. It was a whole new level of, and a whole new way of seeing Milford Sound, which was really cool.
Literally on the video, sending these videos of us doing all those activities, like you see us emptying our boots full of water. I've never been that wet in my life. And honestly, we done a lot of hike and outdoor stuff and everything, and quite often it rains. It's New Zealand, right? I don't think I've ever been that wet. That was quite crazy.
The rain is fun. You have to admit to that.
Yeah. Okay. MB says, Laura's job as a TV presenter. She sounds very professional on the voice narration.
Oh, thank you.
The English accent helps so much. It's fantastic.
It's pure skill. Don't blame it on my English. God, stop belittling me. It's about the skill, not the accent.
I was literally about to say, like, if I finish my sentence, the English accent helps so much when I actually have the headphones and I'm doing the videos and editing them and everything. I'm just like, wow, it just sounds so good. Wow, it just sounds so good. Which is the age is just so good. I love it. Clay says, hey guys, came late dealing with kids who are over the lockdown. Haha, hope all is well. Oh, well, good luck. I hope that you finish the job. You were working on the plumbing of a testing station near Dunedin, if I remember that well last time. I hope that the job was done. I think I saw in the news that it was actually open and up and running. So I had a thought about you. Good luck with the kids. Play a lot of board games. I guess that's what we're doing. You guys are not giving us any ideas of what you guys doing during the lockdown. What are you keeping busy with? Give us some ideas. Jordan says, yes, watch that video, guys. So that's the one that says Mount Manaya that I commented on the channel. So if you guys want to check that. It says, beautiful scenery ends with a bad injury, but Laura letting the expletive fly is freaking hilarious. It's pretty hilarious. Laura doesn't do expletive as much as I do, but when she does, she doesn't stop. And I had to cut some out, right? I did not put them all. Yusuf Alala says, will you guys ever make video about New Zealand overseas territory, especially Chatham Island in the future? And we really want to, but it's hard to get to Chatham Island because there is really not that many connections. So when you get there, you have to be there for quite a long time. So the whole logistic of organizing a trip there is quite hard, as well as most of the land in Chatham Island is actually belonging to the Department of Conservation. So you need a lot of filming approval and everything like that. So there is a lot of way crazier logistic than just us showing up with the GoPro. And so we want to, and we actually are working on that literally all the time. But believe it or not, since I think I've been trying to work on that since 2017. That's to tell you. So we're in 2020 right now, as I'm answering your question, and it's still nowhere near to be ready. But yes, we really want to. Now, it's not an overseas territory, but we went to Niue recently, which is actually a territory in association with New Zealand. So it's kind of like New Zealand-ish. And we actually came up with a full travel guide for Niue as well. So you can check this out if you're interested. So
we were planning to write a guide also for the Cook Islands, but obviously with everything that's going on, we can't exactly go ahead with that right now. But we will put a pin on that one, and we'll be doing that hopefully soon enough.
MB says Niue and Tokelau are beautiful. Yeah, Tokelau is on our list as well. We love the South Pacific. Extreme Talota says my grandfather on my dad's side is from Niue. I went there last October. Nice. Did you like it? I mean, we were there last. Kind of around just before that time.
Before that, yeah.
Cool.
Did you see any whales when you were there? Were the whales still around?
Nice. We did scuba diving over there as well. Turtles and everything. It's fantastic. Yeah. So much coral. Unruly Kiwi says, where are you guys from in New Zealand? So we actually are not from New Zealand. Laura was born in the UK and I was born in France, but I've been in New Zealand for about 10 years and Laura has been in New Zealand for about 6 years. Something like that. I can't count the years. Life goes by too quickly. Jordan says, speaking of goals, do you think you guys will be New Zealand lifers or do you see a possibility of living elsewhere in the future? Why or why not? I think the world is a massive, massive place, so I don't see myself staying in New Zealand forever. I think it's been a good place and good to me for quite a while right now. And we do have plans. We just don't know just yet where to do those plans. Yeah. But we're really into conservation and everything and the ocean and stuff like that. So we will go to places where we can do more of a conservation impact. If possible. I told the story about the metal straws, for example, and it's literally something that we were living and breathing for quite a while. And, it was a lot of money for just the two of us to spend on that. And, like sometimes some people are like, oh, I made that much money. What am I going to buy for myself? And every time we make some money, we like, what can we spend it on? Like that will make a difference. And that's really kind of the way we do things. So we want to go to a place where we can make a big impact. So that's basically it.
A big positive impact.
Yeah, exactly. Terrible, nefarious impact. Georgie says, what do you guys take on the BUNAC over 30 working holiday visa for New Zealand? It works. There is very limited amount of places. So that's only limited to a selected amount of countries, only through one organization that allows people to get a working holiday visa, even if you're past the age. I think that they're not going to do it for very much longer because now, for example, from the UK, you can do the working holiday visa up to 35 years old. So there is not necessarily a need for the BUNAC visa.
Has the UK changed to 35?
I think it's changing. It's changing at some point. I don't know. Not yet. No, it hasn't changed. Canada has changed, right?
Yeah, Canada is 35
already. Yeah. So the UK may change soon to 35 or may not. So, it's kind of like, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. There is a lot of service stalled with this visa, on the side as well. It's okay.
I guess if it's your only sort of option left, I mean, the best way and the cheapest way to go about it is to obviously before you turn 30, try and do a working holiday in New Zealand. But when your options are limited and you only want to come to New Zealand for a year, you can take all their services, but you don't necessarily have to use them. Not all of their services are very useful. Some of them are, but it might be your only option to come and work in New Zealand once you're over 30. So, why not if it's your only option?
Jordan asks, can we get the unedited Laura expletive video?
I could do it for you right now, but we'd probably, YouTube would probably ban this video and YouTube could their robots can pick up on swearing.
Yeah, the robots on YouTube don't like it. Don't like it at all. But there is a lot of we actually put one snippet, one joke kind of at the end of every single one of those episodes. But there is a lot of outtakes of these things. And it's a lot of footage. I mean, a year worth of footage, believe it or not. It's I think it's 20. Well, that's what so I have 20 terabytes worth of footage for that just 1 year. Just try to picture 20 terabytes, how much that is. That is insane. So that's a lot of things to go through. Jordan says, have you guys ever thought about offering tours? No, really. I mean, some people have said, oh yeah, if you guys do a bus tour around New Zealand, we'll jump on the bus with you and everything. But you know,
I think it's just it's just time. Like we could if we had if we didn't ever had to sleep and stuff. But we're also making the travel guides for you guys. We're doing these these YouTube videos for you guys. Like we basically can't do everything. So yeah, I mean we could offer tours if it was possible, but there's just the two of us, so we just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, I also think we know a lot about New Zealand and a lot about a lot of places, right? But each tour guide that does this tour over and over and over again for his whole life, he goes around the Abel Tasman National Park and around the same kind of trail and everything. They acquire skills at that point. They get to know the wildlife. They get to know how to attract that bird, how to show you where the plants are and everything. So I think each tour guide that runs a tour does a better job than what we would do for each of their locations. So I think that it's, it would be more kind of like bringing you to a tour and then getting you to do that tour and then bringing you to another tour. And it would be just hanging out with us. And so I don't know if there will really be a value for that. So, and I feel like it will end up being super expensive to go through around, let's say we do a 20-day tour or something. You've got to pay for one activity every day. Most of the time you go for hikes and everything, but if you have to pay for one activity every day, it gets quite expensive. So I don't know. I think it's a different business. I don't know. Also, honestly, look, we love hanging out with you guys and everything, but look, when we post a video and everything, we get 100 views, 120 views. Right now we got 20 of you guys watching this. It's not that big of an audience. So yeah, it'd be fun, but then, who will show up if we do a tour? You can't get 20 people to show up at the same time. That's for sure. I can guarantee that. If we decide to say, okay, on the 8th of May, we're going to do a 20-day tour around New Zealand, join Robin and Laura, no one will be joining and doing that. That's for sure. So I feel like it's already hard to bring 20 of your family member or friends together. That's a bunch of strangers to come and do a tour of New Zealand. I don't know. I don't think that would work. But yeah, if you have a sales pitch for us and you have a business plan that you think will work, just send it to us. I'm happy to look at it. But to me right now, it just sounds like it wouldn't work. I don't know. I wouldn't want to travel with me. I'm crazy.
We get comments on some of our videos like, I'd like to see this activity, but not with those guys.
Yeah, so. Look at the comments on the Hobbiton video. Look at the comment on that video. People are harsh. They're like, I would love to go to Hobbiton, but definitely not with those two people. So, we're too excited about everything all the time. We're exhausting. Fernando says, which other country are nice to visit close to New Zealand other than Australia? Tonga, Fiji, Niue, and Tuvalu if you get to go there. Here you go. That would be the one that I'll say.
And we will add more to the list as we visit them. They're the ones that, well, except for Tuvalu, they're the ones that we visited so far.
MB says, New Zealand is boring. Great if you want to settle down and die. Lol.
I think everyone thinks that about the country they come from.
Yeah.
Though.
But, sorry, but as travel writer for New Zealand, we beg to disagree. There's a lot to do here in a very small place. I think New Zealand is nothing but boring. But everybody is entitled to their opinion, and that's why I read every comment. We are a fair place right here. Paul Fort Paramio says, where is the best place to see kiwis? We are visiting Te Puia. I think there are some there, but we can go somewhere else to see them in wildlife. Thanks. Paul, there are an entire video on this channel on where to see kiwi birds and where are the best place. So rather than actually telling you a couple of things from the top of my head right here, I will point you out to this video. So you can go on the channel. If you're watching from a laptop, there is a little search icon and you can type kiwi birds. Otherwise, you type kiwi birds, nzpocketguide.com on YouTube, and you'll find a full video. I think we talk about 15 minutes. We go through all of them. We tell you where they are and everything, and you're going to find which one is best for you.
Yeah.
And Willie Kiwi says, would you guys rather live in the South Island for the rest of your life or live in North Island for the rest of your life? If I have to pick one place, I think I would pick the South Island.
I was going to say that as well. The
sceneries are fantastic, so I pick South Island. But there is a video of us actually debating South Island versus North Island, where we kind of fighting it out. So you may want to check this one out to see the fight. We're not actually fighting each other. First person that draw bloods wins. Which island would win? All right. Extreme Tolota says, I head there every 2 years to Niue. It's fun being half New Zealand Maori and half Nurund, seeing dolphin every morning and seeing the whales once, and Niue language isn't that hard to speak. I can't pronounce Maori, so I feel like because you probably have a Maori background, for you it's easier to speak Nurund because I think it has similar Polynesian roots. But for us, It's so hard. It's so hard. You see us pronounce like name of places, and I'm pretty sure you giggle every time we pronounce Whanganui or anything like that. So yeah, for us it's really hard. MB says, I don't really have indigenous wildlife. Most game to the country was introduced. New Zealand is a country of birds. Indeed,
Certainly
ton of
is,
birds,
yeah.
fantastic, and a lot of marine wildlife as well. Fantastic one. Extreme Talota says the unga, which is a coconut crab, is really nice. Indeed, MB says it's a great idea. Offer tours, but tours of what? What are you guys on about? Glenn says to pour forth for Paramio. Most New Zealanders have never seen a kiwi bird in the wild. The only one that came out at night will hide if you see them or smell you. Well, Glenn, if you watch our videos of Stuart Island, at some point in one of the videos, we get to see a kiwi bird. JT says, go on Dragon's Den. Dragon's Den is like Shark Tank in the UK, right? But what are we pitching? That's the thing. You don't know what to pitch.
We want to do tours of New Zealand for our YouTube audience.
How many are there? 18 right now.
Yeah.
That's not worth your money. But yeah. Shirley, hi. Hi, Shirley Kim. How are you doing? JT says, I'm lucky because I have a mutual friend in Wellington. I can stay there for the first weeks I arrive in New Zealand. This should help me find a room and a job. Cool. That's
nice,
good. That's a good plan.
easy.
I like it. MB says, Wellington is awesome. It is really awesome. And MB says to Glenn, I see there are so rare animals. I'd love to know more of them. Well, we actually have quite a few videos about them. We actually see them in captivity. We check out a video of Rainbow Springs where we get to see baby kiwi bird, which is really cool. So is it Rainbow?
Yeah,
Rainbow Springs.
In Rotorua.
Check Rainbow Springs, Rotorua. We have a video about that. It's really cool. MB says he's biased, of course. Glenn suggests you the National Wildlife Center in Mount Bruce, Wairarapa. That's a good place indeed. Bertrand says in French, après avoir annulé notre voyage en mars pour octobre, cela sera-t-il OK à votre avis? In short, he says I had to cancel my trip in March, and he would like to go in October instead. Will it be okay in your opinion? We don't want to say anything right now because there is so much in the air right now, Bertrand. Maybe. We had a trip planned to the Cook Islands, and we are rescheduling it right now. We're actually rescheduling it for January, just to give you kind of an idea. I don't know. Honestly, personal opinion right now is that I will hold on to it, and I will look into September to do my booking for October. And then more in September. So come back regularly, and we'll do that. Jordan say, let me help you guys with something. You're both extremely likable. We just have to expand the audience a little bit more. I'm just thinking of ways you can bring in some cash. Oh, that's nice. Part of the tour is, yes, the knowledge, but even more so, I believe the people. Oh, that's lovely, Jordan.
Oh, well, that's good to hear.
I'll do my part and post you guys on my Facebook. Oh, nice. Share one of our... you know what? Share some of the videos that make you giggle, and maybe some people are going to discover us a little bit, and it's going to grow a little bit bigger. But we do that for about an hour a week, right? We hang out with you guys, and that's what we do, and then we publish a few videos here and there. But most of the stuff that we do is NZ Pocket Guide, and we really want to create like kind of the encyclopedia of traveling in New Zealand. And there is about 2,500 articles on the website right now, and we actually are about to release another 500 in the next few weeks, months.
No pressure.
No pressure. So we are building that thing to become quite a huge monster, and it's good. It's doing well for us. And to be fair, the reason it's doing well is because you guys are here to support it, because you guys are reading it, you're believing in us, you tell people, the most important thing is when you travel through a tour, you tell people, when they say, oh, how did you find out about our tour? You say why you find out about a tour, and a lot of people are doing that. That's really helping us because then operators work with us, and it's a virtuous circle. Everybody is happy. Everybody help each other. Glenn says, I look at that video up today. I only ever seen them in the wild itself. Oh, Glenn, watch that video. It's quite fun. But also watch our Stuart Island videos.
We actually do see one in the wild, which is pretty exciting.
I can't even remember which one of the videos. So watch all of the Stuart Island video. There is not many. It's like 2 or 3.
Three.
So it's not that many, but MB says Fortress New Zealand is in lockdown. Yep, it is. It is. Paul Ford Paramio says, thanks, guys. I will check all your video guides this day. They seem pretty good. Oh, that's nice. And then finally, MB says something political that I will not read right now. Sorry, MB, it's a bit too political for audience. We don't do politics here, but I tend to agree, but we don't do politics. Anyway, guys, we've been live with you guys for an hour and 15 minutes. That's probably one of our longest so far. So thank you very much for joining us for that long. We're here to answer all your questions about New Zealand. As you can see, we do that every week. We just sit down with you guys and we go through your questions and we discuss with you guys. We help you pick our brain because we've traveled so much around New Zealand. I'm not taking your bait, MB. Anyway, can I get that? All right, we're back every single week, which is at 8 a.m. on Sunday, New Zealand time. So work it out. There is a link in the description below to help you work out what time it is where you are in the world. So it's like a website called timeanddate.com, whatever. You can put the time and the date and you get it. Anyway, 8 a.m. New Zealand time every single week. In the UK and France, it is, I think it's 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. right now on Saturday. In USA, it's 2 p.m. EST and 11 a.m. PST on the Saturday as well. Correct us, Jordan, if we're wrong for the California time. In India, it's 12:30 a.m. On Sunday, and in Australia, it's 6 a.m. on Sunday as well. Anyway, 8 a.m. New Zealand time every Sunday. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe. It's a great way to support the channel. Watch our videos. At the moment, if you guys are on lockdown, you're bored, watch New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year from the start. You know, it's kind of a fun way to you get to know us a little bit through everything, but the best of it is that you get to know a lot about New Zealand. So
get to see all the really cool activities you can do.
Yeah, and share stuff on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok.
Just press all those buttons
and Snapchat.
down there.
Yeah, do some stuff like that to help us out. It's always really cool to see everything. And it's 9 p.m. on Saturday if you're on Ireland in the UK. Thank you very much, Fernando, everybody. Bye-bye. Thank you.
See you next week.
Bye.
And stay safe.
Yeah, stay safe.